Welcome to Books in the Freezer, a podcast dedicated to the deliciously disturbing world of horror fiction. I'm your host, Stephanie, and I am joined once again by fan favorite Quincy to pick out some read-alikes for Taylor Swift songs. Welcome back, Quincy.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
I mean, I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted.
And you know what? Good. Honestly, I'm very excited for this episode. And I'm glad you kind of, brought it to me to do with you because I'm a Swiftie. We all know you're a Swiftie. And, what better outlet than to talk about it on your podcast?
Yeah, I mean the outlet like outside of our DMs where I'm like, look at these lyrics though. What
I
do you
know.
think it means?
I know. We just start nerding out. We're trying to connect the dots.
I know I sent those lyrics I sent you this morning to like a few people, and I'm like, this is how conspiracy theorists get started. Just like
Mhm.
the tiniest little thing in like
Mhm.
songs, and I'm like, look, see.
Mhm. That's funny because when you sent me that, I was thinking the same thing too when I was introduced to folklore. We'll talk about it more later. But all day at work, I was like, crap, now that's all I think about. I'm trying to like listen now. That I rather do think about this than, work.
Yeah. Okay, so we are coming up with read-alikes for a song on each album because we don't have like all day. This
Yes.
still has to be like podcast episode length. We have lots to say. And yeah, I mean, she's just an artist whose career has spanned so much, especially of my life. Like, I found her in her debut era when I was in high school, and she was making music about being in high school and crying over
Mhm.
boys. And I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
I understand. And so I think I've really kind of grown up with her. Like, Red came out when I was 21, so a few months before I turned 22. So it's like, I really feel like she's kind of been there for
Yeah.
all the like milestones in my life.
Yes. Yes. I completely get that. Um, it's funny because you've been a Swiftie since essentially like day one. And I'll be honest, I just became a Swiftie recently as of probably October of last year. And I was introduced to Midnights and I fell in love. And then I just started going down the rabbit hole. And I was never a big Taylor Swift fan back in the day. And shame on me because I drank the Kool Aid proudly.
The haterade.
I, you know what? I'll drink it again and again.
uh, I I think your story's not uncommon. I think Folklore and Evermore brought in like a new, I don't say like generation, but a new swath of fans that kind of like
Mhm.
accepted her artistry and then went back into her pop stuff and were like, oh, this artistry has always been
Been there.
here.
Yes. Yes, you really nailed it on the head. I started with Midnights, but I really I love it. But like my obsession with her lyrics came from Folklore and Evermore, and those will always be my favorite albums. Like like even other artists, like it's gonna be
Yeah, I think those
Folklore
are
and
mine too.
Evermore. So I get it. I get it. But yeah, I did go back to like
Yeah,
when I started listening to like Lover and Red, I'm like,
yeah.
oh yeah, the elements of Folklore and Evermore are very much scattered throughout everything that she has produced and put out there for everyone. So I agree.
We were talking earlier. My sister's always a big Swiftie, but she's a Lover 1989 Midnights Swiftie. So I remember when like Folklore and Evermore came out, she was a little worried. She's like, "Oh, is this what we're doing now? Because I don't know how to feel about
Mhm.
it. It's
Mhm.
not quite my thing." So she was really excited that Midnights was kind of like a return to pop. She was like, "Okay, this was just a thing we did
Yeah,
for a little bit. Not to worry."
I think I always put her in like the pop category, and of course, I never gave pop the credit it like rightfully deserves, And thankfully, Taylor kind of like you know showed me the ways.
Yeah.
So.
I do feel like it's a litmus test that I use with people. Like if people are very dismissive, I not to say there aren't issues you can have with Taylor or gripes you can
Yeah.
have with Taylor. She's made missteps, especially recently with her dating choices, and I
Mhm.
think she's done things that deserve to be scrutinized. But I think when people the reasons people dismiss her, I think say a lot about it.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of like side-eyeing.
Oh, yeah. And I was probably one of those people,
Yeah.
like I said, I put her in the pop little like I felt she made music for a specific demographic, and that demographic was not interesting to me. And boy, was I proven wrong.
Well, like I said, we're doing one book for one song from each album. So do you want to dive right into it? Because I think we'll have a lot to say, honestly, just as we go through. I don't think we have to have a ton here up top
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're just going to be
Honestly,
going on.
this is gonna be the meat and potatoes of the episode. So yeah, I say, if you want to kick us off, go for it.
All right. Will do. I'm going to tell you the book I'm choosing first.
Okay.
So, my first book pick is Audition by Ryu Murakami. This is about a widower who is kind of looking to get back into the dating scene, and he has a friend who is a director, and he proposes this idea of like, what if we held fake auditions like for a part, but we used it kind of like as auditions for like a new woman for you, for like a
Yes.
future wife. Like, what do you think about that? And I think what's interesting about this is that it is set up as kind of this like quirky rom-com premise, but of course, this is a horror podcast. We are talking horror. And so, when he falls for the meek and quiet Yoshikawa, he will find that he was wrong about who she was, the kind of energy she is bringing to this. And so
Yes.
I am pairing Audition with Blank Space from 1989. So, Blank Space, when it came out, was a big response to the way the media had portrayed her as this like crazy serial dater, can't keep a man. And so she kind of wrote this song to like lean into those stereotypes. And it's from the perspective of someone who's this like glamorous, seductive, like manipulative, crazy
Mhm.
person. Lyrics like, I'll find out what you want, be that girl for a month, wait, the worst is yet to come, screaming, crying, perfect storm, I can make all the tables turn, rose garden filled with thorns, keep you second guessing, like, oh my God, who is
Yes.
she?
Yes.
Which is Audition.
Hmm.
Because when you get to that end, you know what he's asking? Oh my God, who is she?
Who is she? What is going on?
Darling, she's a nightmare dressed like a daydream.
Daydream. Yes. Perfect pairing. I love that. I love that.
So that's my 1989 peg. That is Audition by Ryu Murakami, and I am pairing that with Blank Space from 1989.
Let's see. So my first pick is I Did Something Bad from the Reputation era. I really like this song because it really dives into, or I feel it dives into like the emotions one can feel and like what you do with that, and if you choose a route of like, quote unquote bad behavior, um sometimes that's like what is needed, and sometimes that feeling of it feeling so good is very liberating. And I want to pair that with Come Closer by Sarah Grand.
Okay.
I've read this book multiple times, and it does give me Reputation vibes, mainly because we do follow our main protagonist, and you get the perspective of the woman who is possessed. Also, this is a possession story. But yeah, you do get everything from her point of view, and you see her teeter tottering from like, what am I doing? Oh no, to what am I doing? Oh yes. And she's kind of liking it, and you're very much following all this chaotic behavior that's she's creating for herself. And yeah, I just think it's a perfect pairing for I Did Something Bad. So
I
that's my
love
first
that.
pick.
I'm a
Yes.
big Reputation girly. Like I was telling you up
Mhm.
top. My top four are like Folklore of More, Reputation Speak Now.
Yes. Honestly, I do like Reputation just because it's that big, like, F you to the world, and that very empowering feeling, that we need.
I mean, aesthetic wise, it was like the closest I've ever gone to like merging the two sides of my personality. It's like the darkest
Yes.
she's ever gone. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, if we had to create ourselves aesthetically into one era, it's going to be Reputation. So,
Hmm.
mhm.
Yeah. I think the funny thing with Reputation is that she wrote a lot of songs about the beginning of her relationship with Joe. So there's a lot of just like earnest love songs with like I think like 3 or 4 of those kind of like bad bitch songs that
Hmm.
give the album its
Hmm.
reputation.
Right.
But it's actually it's quite a lovely album.
It really is. It really is.
All right, I am heading into the Fearless era. My song is You Belong With Me, and I am picking You by Caroline Kepnes. This book is narrated by Joe, and it's written in second person, and he is talking to this woman, Beck, who he meets at the bookstore he works at, and he believes they have this like immediate connection based on one interaction. And he becomes obsessed with the idea that she should be with him instead of the guys that she's choosing to be with. So I will say one lyric from the song: she doesn't get your humor like I do. What you're looking for has been here the whole time. If you can see, I'm the one who understands you. You've been here all along, so why can't you see? You belong with me. So, and then I'm pairing that with this quote from the book: the world stops and your eyes gloss over. The Benjis of the world don't understand what you want. Someone to make you pancakes. You don't care about money. You don't want to be spanked. You want love.
God, that's so Joe.
Did you read it or watch the show?
I watched the show and I read it slash listened to the audiobook, which I
Oh,
recommend.
the audiobook is so
Yeah,
good. And it's creepy because, like I said, it's
it's
in that second
creepy.
person. So it's like, I see you. If you
Yeah,
knew I snuck into your house, you would be mad at me. So
yeah.
I'm not going to tell you.
Honestly, if you
So
want the
creepy.
best experience with the audiobook, go for like a late, like not late, but like a summer walk and just listen to it.
Just going on my hot girl walk and listening to
Yeah,
scary audiobooks.
yeah, and it's fantastic.
Perfect. So that is You by Caroline Kepnes, and I am pairing that with You Belong With Me from Fearless.
Love that. My next pick is Crossroads by Laurel Hightower, and I'm pairing it with Ronin from the Red Era. Um, so little backstory. All my friends, shout out, know that if they want to see me drunk cry, they just have to play Ronin. It gets
Oh,
me
yeah.
every single time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so Crossroads is it's a novella, short story about a woman who is grieving the loss of her son and how she interacts with that grief. And I feel both Ronin and Crossroads mirror this element of what a relationship with grief itself looks like, what
Mm-hmm.
you do with that. There are no like, I don't think there's like any big parallels between the two other than losing a child. But yeah, just like the relationship with grief, what do we do with that? How do we interact with it? Um, and ultimately, like, how does that grief look towards the end? But I think both are very like heart wrenching stories that deserve to be listened to slash read. And I really like this song in particular because I'm sure everyone knows the story behind it. Um, a woman in I forgot what state, she lost her son to cancer, and she was blogging about it as a way of like expressing her grief or like for therapeutic reasons. And Taylor found the blog, read everything, and she asked permission to write a song, and she gave the mom a co-writing credit because she used those blog entries
Mm-hmm. Oh,
for the
wow.
song. Yeah, and I just think it was such a beautiful song. And when we decided to do this episode, I knew immediately Crossroads had to be the one I would pair it with because I remember feeling similar emotions when reading it.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
is a gut punch of a novella.
yes, it is. And it's literally like maybe a little over 100 pages. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it packs a really big punch for such a tiny book.
Okay. Sidebar. What
Mhm.
are your top crying Taylor songs?
Oh my God. Well, Ronan is number one. Um, Cardigan. Because Cardigan's probably my favorite song of all time by her. And Better Man. Jesus.
Minor, I told you. Last Kiss,
Hmm.
Nothing New,
Hmm.
Bigger Than the Whole Sky, Soon You'll Get Better.
Yes.
I think I have cried to Cardigan.
Yeah. Oh my god, such good picks. Oh my god. Honestly, nothing feels better than a good Taylor Swift cry.
No, absolutely not. Sometimes I'll like lip sync to a song and start crying. So I'm sorry if someone listens to this because they're a Books in the Freezer fan, but they are not
Hmm.
a Taylor fan. I feel like they might lose a lot of respect for me because of they're gonna find out what an unhinged
Hmm.
fan I
Hmm. But honestly, sorry, not sorry.
am.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah, sorry that you're finding out all the songs that I fully cry to.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna go into my big one. I am talking about Cackle by Rachel Harrison. And I am pairing this with Happiness from Evermore, which I have gone on record is one of my favorite Taylor songs. I think it is severely underrated. So if you will excuse me these next few minutes, I'm about to go into
Please, please spill the tea.
my rant. Okay, so Cackle is about a woman who, at the beginning of the story, has been dumped from a relationship that she had been in for a long time, a big long-term relationship. And she has just turned 30 and she's kind of at this crossroads where she kind of doesn't know what to do with herself. She kind of starts new in a small town and makes friends with an older woman who kind of begins like a mentoring a friendship with her and like really helps her through this time and through this transition, like find her inner strength. She might be a witch, no. But Happiness is about the process of healing from a breakup and knowing that like one day you're going to be in a better place emotionally when you get through it. But I think the first time that I listened to it, or the first few times at least, I assumed it was already being past that. I assumed that the narrator like had broken up, was healed, because it's like, honey, when I'm above the trees, I see this for what it is. She's like, the narrator says like there'll be happiness after you, but there was happiness because of you. Both of these things can be true. There is happiness
Hmm.
in our history. And I'm like, oh, that's a very mature statement. That's someone like looking back with maturity and saying like both of these things can be true.
Yeah.
It's fine. But if you really listen to the song and like listen to the lyrics, it is someone going back and forth. They are in the thick of it. Like 1 minute they're like, I'm okay, I will be fine. And then the very next minute they are like, tell me, when did your winning smile begin to look like a smirk? When did all our lessons start to look like weapons pointed at my deepest hurt? I hope she'll be a beautiful fool, which great Gatsby reference, who takes my spot next to you. But then, she takes a step back and in the song she says, no, I didn't mean that. Sorry, I can't see facts through all of my fury. You haven't met the new me yet. And then she kind of goes back to like, there'll be happiness after me, but there was happiness because of me. Both of these things, I believe, there is happiness in this great divide. And then, she gets on it. She's like, I can't make it go away by making you a villain, which again, like a very mature statement. But then she gets angry and she says, but I guess it's the price I paid for 7 years in heaven. I pulled your body into mine every goddamn night. Now I get fake niceties. No one teaches you what to do when a good man hurts you. And you hurt him too. So it
Um,
is just this like back and forth. And then she kind of goes back to like, honey, when I'm above the trees, I see it for what it is. And she's devastated. She's like, after giving you the best I had, tell me what to give after that. All you want from me now is the green light of forgiveness, which again I will say, I think it's another great Gatsby reference with the green
mhm.
light. But
Yes.
then she's mature and she's like, but I think she'll give you that. You haven't met
Yes.
the new me yet,
Hmm.
but I think she'll give you
Yeah. One second, I'm gonna cry really quick because that
that.
song's too good. I think what this song really captures very well, and I feel like a lot of her songs too, is like the I'm okay, but like there's still something that stings,
Mhm.
and like that's okay,
Yeah.
you know. Great song pick.
I love it. And I mean, Cackle is about grappling with that. She's
Mhm.
dealing with the anxiety of turning 30 and what that means, like as a woman, there's like a whole stigma placed upon that. And like
Mhm.
she lost the security that she had. She was kind of like, my whole 20s were defined by like being in this relationship and being comfortable. And now that's gone.
Right.
And I'm starting over at
Mhm.
30. Like, what am I supposed to
Like,
do with that?
exactly.
And I
Exactly.
mean, yeah, in this case, she finds someone who's like, you just do it. You're great.
Just do it.
So, if you'll allow me. I was also thinking of for Cackle doing Nothing New from
Mhm.
Brad Taylor's version because it is about like
Yes.
aging anxiety.
Mhm.
But I think so. This is my bonus, like throwing it in there, my double red. I think that would make a good pick for Curse of the Reaper by Brian McCauley. Even though
Yeah.
like technically Nothing New is like this very like female experience.
Mhm.
Like as a woman, you get older and society and especially like the entertainment industry becomes less enamored with you. Like they are interested in
Yes.
like shiny new things. Like,
Yes.
Lord, what will become of me once I've
Mhm.
lost my novelty? And the book Curse of the Reaper is about an actor who was known for playing this like iconic slasher villain. And he's at a con and he, hears the news that they're gonna reboot the franchise, but they're recasting his role to like
Mhm.
you know, a younger guy. You know what? Like he's might not be ready to let it go just yet. But yeah, like as I said, I have maybe cried to this song. But yeah, I don't know. There's just, and maybe it's the Phoebe Bridgers of it. I'm a big Phoebe Bridgers girl.
We
Like
love sad girl music, I'm
we
telling you.
do. I do. I have a whole playlist called Sad Girl Bops, and you'll
Yes.
love this. The icon
Yeah.
is Jennifer from Jennifer's Body putting on
Ah,
her makeup.
yes. Oh my
And it is
god.
it is full of Mitski and Phoebe Bridgers.
I love it. I love it. You know what? Send that to me. I'm gonna listen to that.
Yeah, like I've had too much to drink tonight. And I wake up in the middle of the night and it's like I can feel time moving.
Mhm.
And I mean, Taylor wrote this when she was 22, and she's talked a lot about how she's like anxious about like people getting tired of her, people getting bored of her, and like how long
Mhm.
will this fame, this adoration
Right.
last?
Right.
Um,
I I'm glad you mentioned that because I watched this video with her talking about the release of Folklore Nevermore and how like as an artist, especially in such a big public eye as her, there's this constant anxiety of like having to reinvent yourself.
mhm.
So like yeah, like pandemic hit, so what now? Oh, Born was Folklore Nevermore. But then after that, she had to do something else. So there's this constant anxiety of like, I have to be new and shiny once again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting because yeah, she wrote this at 22, and she also kind of has a light in there about how like she would feel conflicted about like kind of mentoring the new generation. I think she's been
Mm-hmm.
a bit more open to that now that she's gotten into her 30s. Like I feel like she's very supportive of like Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia
Yes.
Rodrigo. But
Yes.
she wrote, the kind of radiance you only have at 17. She'll know the way and then she'll say she got the map from me. I'll say I'm happy for
Oh,
her. Then I'll cry myself to sleep.
damn.
Which again, big Curse of the Reaper vibes too.
Oh,
All right, so that was my double pick. That is Happiness from
mhm.
Evermore with Cackle by Rachel Harrison and Nothing New featuring Phoebe Bridgers
Love
from Red
it.
Taylor's version paired with Curse of the Reaper by Brian McCauley.
So my next pick, I'm going to talk about Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, which of course is a favorite of everyone's. And I'm going to pair this with Seven from Folklore. So, as everyone knows, this book's about Camille Preaker, who's a reporter, and then she gets assigned a case to go, investigate these murders that are happening in her hometown of Wind Gap. But what I really like about this pairing is that in the book, you're forced to follow a relationship between a mother and daughter, but a daughter that is, an adult, and then a daughter and a mother but the daughter is younger. So older sister, younger sister, but like what relationships look like between generations, and like what kind of trauma comes from having a mother that is so interesting, we'll say, I guess, and I'm sure everyone know this story, so I feel everyone will be aware of how Adora is as a mother. But in Seven, we do like retrospectively look back on like childhood trauma through the narrator's eyes. And oh, I just think it's like a really good pairing. So like one lyric I really liked is and I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted, your dad is always mad, and that must be why. And I think you should come live with me and we could be pirates, then you won't have to cry. And I'm like,
We'll hide in the closet, just like
I
a folk
know.
song. Our love will be
Yes.
passed along.
Yes.
It's fine.
It's
I'm not
so,
crying that I missed this
yeah.
as a special song,
Oh my
as
God.
a secret song.
No, please. Like, I totally get why one would be upset because this is such an impactful song. And honestly, it's like really well done. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that Taylor shines a light on like child like abuse in this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the lyrics are very like folky and like, I don't want to say childish, but like almost storybooky,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like really discussing like trauma
Yeah.
through a child's eyes, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Did
yeah.
you watch the Long Pond sessions?
Like only like 10 times.
Because I like what she says about it, where she's like, like as children, we really allow ourselves to like feel our
Hmm.
emotions and just like be feral and like scream at the sky. And like, where does that
Hmm.
go?
Oh my God, I'm glad you mentioned that because the next lyric I wanted to talk about was please picture me in the weeds. Before I learned civility, I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted. And I think that paints a really good picture of like Camille as a young girl, like a child, being able to scream and express child emotions freely. And then having the mother that she does, you're forced into complacency so soon and almost forced to like be an adult sooner than expected. Um,
Yeah.
and then, but you know, Adora, she's very like prim and proper, and you don't act this way, you wear this and you wear it this way. You know, put on this front. And Camille was always rebelling against that, but it was still something she had to struggle with. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
God, I love Seven.
Me too. Me too.
I think
It's
it's one of
so
my
good.
top. It's one of my top folklore songs.
I agree. And it's also one of those songs like kind of like I'm not gonna put in the same realm as Cruel Summer, other than the fact like these are both like really like sad, depressing songs, but they're like kind of disguised in a either a poppy type of tune or like a
Oh my God, is
folky, you know
Cruel
what I'm
Summer
saying?
sad?
I don't know, to me when I hear the lyrics, like
Oh my God, explain, because this has
okay,
been my bop.
so like I mean, oh bro, when I ever get on the highway, I jam to Cruel Summer on full blast. But to me personally, when I listen to the lyrics, I just think of someone like constantly kind of making the same mistakes or choosing the same choices really. Um so I guess maybe I'm projecting, I don't know, but I just think of someone like always choosing that same type of like relationship and like I don't know. I guess like look at it like that. Like it's kind of sad to me, but
Well, it's also sad, like in
mm,
retrospect, I think, to listen to a lot of Lover.
yeah, it
Lover is
really
a
is.
very, I tell people all the time, Lover is a
Hmm.
very anxious album. Like, I think people think like this is her album where she's like in love and, heart eye emoji. But
Hmm.
like all her songs are like, are you going to leave me? Like, I'm really
Yeah.
happy, but like, what am I going to do when you leave me? I'll never walk Cornelia Street again.
Yes.
Like, it's a lot of anxiety.
Yes. Yes. It's
Like, I
like
think Reputation is her
mhm.
like in love album, honestly.
Honestly, yeah. But like I feel Lover is also like it's anxiety, but you're looking it through rose color lenses
Yeah.
essentially.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
It's complicated. All
Hmm.
right. Well, I am taking us back to debut.
Yes. Please do.
Uh, with Should Have Said No. And I am pairing this with We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. Because Should Have Said No is about someone telling someone off who cheated on them, like telling off your partner, like you heard that they cheated on you. But like the thing about this song is this has the energy of like you in the shower or like in the car, like really hyping yourself up and being like, you should have said no, you should have gone home, you should have thought twice before you let it all go. Like you're like practicing what you're
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yes.
And the premise for we like I struggled with this because there are a lot of horror books about betrayal.
Hmm.
But the thing with We Sold Our Souls is like Chris finds out that her former bandmate who shot to superstardom kind of like sold all of their bandmates out for fame,
Yeah.
like supernaturally, like
Hmm.
Faustian Parkin style, like sold their souls. Um, and so the book is like her embarking on this road trip to kind of get to the bottom of things and for revenge. And so like the book is kind of like you hyping yourself up like
Oh,
for
definitely.
this confrontation.
Hmm.
So I feel like energy wise, they are bringing the like, you should have said no.
Hmm.
You should have gone home. You had to know like what you did with her. You should have known that like word of what you did with her would get back to me.
Yes.
I should have been there in the back of your mind. So yeah, that is Should Have Said No from Taylor Swift, the debut album, and that is We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix.
Okay, so for my last pick, and I feel you and I will have
Mm.
so much to say about this. Okay. So the book I want to talk about is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. And just sum up the book really quick. We just follow a young girl named Vanessa, and it's a dual timeline. And when she's in boarding school, when she's 17, 18,
Maybe 15.
a very, 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 very young age, and she becomes, romantically and sexually involved with her teacher, and we just follow that essentially. But the song I want to pair it with is Woulda Coulda Shoulda from Midnight's 3 a.m. edition, mind you. And I mean, Stephanie, like, what do you think?
Oh my
Like,
god. First of all, when you put this on the doc, I was like, 10,000 yes.
yes,
10,000% yes.
yes.
My Dark Vanessa is one of my all-time favorite books. It is absolutely heartbreaking.
Hmm.
And I think because you are watching someone grapple with things, I don't want to say in real time, but for a good length of the book,
Yeah.
she's not aware that she's a victim and she doesn't
Hmm.
want to admit it. And even
Yes.
when like other victims come forward and say, like, this is what happened to me, you just see like the denial she's in, where it's like, well, it was different with
She's like,
me. You
well,
asked for
yeah.
it, actually.
Hmm.
And it's
Yes,
painful.
it
And
is.
even to see it's so masterfully done
Hmm.
because she is going back and like looking at these memories and she thinks they're romantic and she thinks they're sweet. And you, as the reader, are like, no. And that's hard to do.
It is. It is. It is. It's hard to like. You want to root for this character, but also you're like, wake up!
Like, what
you
are
know,
you
what are
doing?
you
This is not
doing?
cute, actually. That's awful.
It,
You are a victim. Wake
it
up.
is. Yes. Yes. Um,
Like, the narrative that they're telling you is so wrong and it physically pains you as a reader.
mhm.
And yeah, it's a song about regret. And
Yes.
I love the religious imagery and
Yes.
metaphor.
Yes.
Like,
Stained glass windows in my mind.
I never would have danced with the devil at
Yes.
19.
Oh,
But the God's honest truth was that the pain was heaven.
heaven.
Ugh.
Yeah. I. So it's like a lyric like that I think fits this book very well, because with Woulda Coulda Shoulda, you're getting adult Taylor's perspective on something, and then in My Dark Vanessa you get the adult perspective, and there's still, you could still tell there's that, like, maybe like the pain was heaven, like, I don't know, like teeter tottering, but like still being very much aware, like, this was not my fault,
Mhm.
but like there's still these like kind of like emotions that she may be experiencing, you know
That she can't disentangle
exactly,
from
it's
that. Like,
exactly.
she's scared of ghosts. Memories
she
feel like weapons.
she is. There is one lyric I really like. If clarity's in death, then why won't this die? Years of tearing down your banners, you and I. living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts. Give me back my girlhood. It was mine first.
Oh, I have screamed that in my car.
Me too. Unapologetically, windows down. If I'm at a red light, I'll make sure we make eye contact. Because it's just these lyrics in the song, they're just so good. So good. Beautifully written. And yeah, this is going to be my pairing for my last pick.
Yeah. Oh my god. Perfect pairing.
Perfect pairing, yeah.
Um, I am gonna go with a song that is also about this person.
My friends who went to the second night of Eras here
Oh,
in Minneapolis,
jealous.
they got what I think is the pick you're about to pick right now, and
Mm-hmm.
I was jealous too. So I'll let you take it away.
All right. So I am talking about Dear John from Speak Now. And I am pairing this with the story The Bloody Chamber from the collection The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. Dear John, I mean, in its simplest terms, is about getting out of a toxic relationship. The story is essentially a Bluebeard retelling. A girl is married off to a much older man who tells her she can never look into a certain room. When he's away, she does, and she finds that there are bodies of his previous wives. Her mother rescues her before she joins them. And I picked this specifically because her mother is also mentioned as like a warning presence
Mm-hmm.
in Dear John, just like counting my footsteps, praying the floor won't fall through, which again, I think is like a lesser songwriter would have said walking on eggshells. No, she says
Yes.
counting my footsteps, praying the floor won't fall through.
Yes.
Again, she says, again. My mother accused me of losing my mind, but I swore I was fine, which also happens in The Bloody Chamber.
Yes.
And you'll add my name to your long list of traitors who don't understand. And I mean, we see the room full of dead wives, just traitors who didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand. And I'll look back in regret how I ignored when they said, run as fast as you can.
That hurt.
And it's so sad because on the same album, she has Hours, which is allegedly also about this relationship where she's like, people like to throw rocks at things that shine, and people are just jealous of us. And I don't know why we have so many haters. And in the same album, she's like, I should have listened
No, yeah,
to them.
I should have known.
I, for one, will say, I don't know how this man ever recovered from all the girls that you've run dry have tired, lifeless eyes because you've burned
Mm-hmm.
them out.
Oh, what a monster!
I will
God.
say. So after I listened, I was a big fan of this
Mm-hmm.
musician.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, even after Dear John, I didn't stop listening to him. I stopped listening to him after I read Jessica Simpson's memoir,
Oh
where
no!
she basically confirms all of this
Oh,
in
wow!
her own words. And I was like, oh, two women are coming forward with
Mm-hmm.
like the same story.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you.
They spilled the scalding tea, is what they
Yeah.
did. Good for them.
Down to like the tired, lifeless eyes. Down to like this man literally like sucked the life out of me.
Right. And like honestly, like that lyric in itself is horror. It
Mm-hmm.
paints a picture that's, very unsettling, which is what we all crave.
Yeah.
Being fans of horror.
Maybe a controversial opinion. I think that song goes a little harder than All Too Well. Like I think like
Low key,
Dear
low
John
key.
is like harsh. And maybe that's why she gave the
Yeah.
warning of like, hey, let's not bully people who I was in a relationship with when I was 19.
Yeah, like I just want to own my music, hence why I'm re-releasing. Let's
Yeah.
just, you know,
So like I get that.
me
Also, I
too.
think Jake Gyllenhaal was a bit of a better sport. Like I heard that he told her he like liked the song. He was like,
Mhm.
congrats on your success. Like I like the song.
Yes. Um, but also, I think, let's be honest, I think Taylor Lautner has probably the better
Oh yeah.
circumstances in
Where
regards to.
she's apologizing to him.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
fine. He's like, I have literally nothing to worry about.
Literally, I'm the only one that got an apology song. So he's good. But no, that was a great song, especially I think if you pair Dear John and Woulda Coulda Shoulda, those are
Mm-hmm.
the what sister songs, if you will, or
Yeah.
yeah, great band. Love it. I
Oh
love it.
God, I love Speak Now. Speak Now to me is almost a no skip album if it wasn't for
Mhm,
Innocent. I'm sorry if that's a controversial
mhm,
opinion, but I don't like Innocent. But other than that, almost no skips. Like I will listen to it like
mhm.
top to bottom.
Yeah, I honestly, whenever I hear or listen to Speak Now, it gives me like old punky vibes when I
Oh,
was like
because
an
of
emo kid.
Better Than Revenge.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, why is this something I would have listened to back in my emo days? And I just was never aware,
I think that's
you
why I
know?
like it. It reminds me of just being a teenager so unapologetically in my feelings. Like, the
Mhm.
songs are like, I hate you. I'm
Yes.
mad that you stole my
Mhm.
boyfriend. What if I
Yes.
interrupted this wedding and we ran away together? I'm like, shit
Mhm,
I wrote about in my journal.
mhm. And like, I think a friend was telling me how she wanted to title it Enchanted, and they told her like no, because that's childish or whatever. Meanwhile, I mean, she's still a child at that time, but whatever. Yeah, I think Speak Now is a great album, and Dear John hurts. It does. So sweet.
That's all. I
Hmm.
love Enchanted too. I'm telling you, it's an album of
Yes.
bangers. Mean,
Hmm.
Better Than Revenge, Enchanted, Back
Sparks
to
Fly.
December, Dear John, Long
Yes.
Live,
Just the
Superman,
list keeps going.
Haunted.
It's a great album. Hmm. I went to night one of Eris when she was here, and when she walked out in that dress just by herself, everything was purple, and she sang Enchanted. It was breathtaking. It was great. It
I
was
love
great.
Enchanted. I still can't believe it's about the guy from Rule City though.
I think it's kind of cute. I recently,
He must be a great
honestly,
conversationalist because it's about like, yeah, like you meet someone at a party and you like
hmm,
really hit it off and you have like a really good conversation and you like smile about it all the way home. I'm like, he must be
yes,
so
yes.
good at
I
that.
listened to that a little snippet of that song that he made, like in reply to Enchanted. I'm like, damn, they're low-key cute back in the day. you know, I was jealous. So, what is your
Oh
really
gosh.
quick? What is your all-time favorite Taylor song that you want playing when you die? Well, maybe not
Oh,
when you
like when
die,
I
but like
die,
if there's
like
one
an
song you
act.
want to hear, and it has to be the one before you.
Just imagine someone has me at gunpoint. They're like, "You have one final request," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Siri, play." Oh wait, I still didn't
Oh
do
my god. Oh,
Lover.
never mind. Let's go back. Let's go
Okay,
back.
let me
Yes.
just go real quick. Okay, I will
Yes.
go back to that question.
Mhm.
So my pick for Lover is The Archer, and I am pairing it with the Truly Devious series. And honestly, I'm pairing the Truly Devious series with like the whole
Mhm.
Lover album because we're following teen sleuth Stevie who
Mhm.
struggles with a lot of anxiety. And like I said, Lover, your girl's an anxious album. But specifically The Archer, where I mean it gets to that point, it kind of feels like a little bit of a panic attack. It kind of feels
It
like a little
does.
bit of a panic attack, which is like they
Yeah.
see right through me, they see right through me. Do you see right through me? Do you see right through me? I see right through me. And it has
Yes.
like the heartbeat. And I'm like, yes, it is an
Mhm.
album of anxiety. Also, in the last book, she goes to London to visit her
And one of
boyfriend.
the last songs.
I love a
Yes.
London
Oh,
boy.
clap to that.
So that was my real quick Lover pairings. That is The Archer on Lover. That's my sister's favorite, like all-time favorite
Archer.
song.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Hmm. I don't know. Mine would be between Happiness and I love Cardigan too. Chasing shadows in the grocery line.
Smoke.
Like
I knew I cursed you for the longest time. God.
leaving like a
Running like
father.
water. Dude. Trying to change the ending. Peter losing Wendy. Another literary reference. God.
I was telling my husband, I was like trying to come up with like what Taylor tattoo would I get. And I was like, what about I didn't have it in myself to go with Grace? And he was like, I think maybe that's feeding off not your best qualities.
Mm, no,
It's
is
leaning into our
it?
dark
I
side
mean,
a
that
little
just means
bit.
you're willing to fight for what you want, girl. You know that.
Yeah.
No, I
Thank
say
you.
get
Thank
it
you.
and get it. Like gets.
Well, the thing was then it was TikTokified. Like I was thinking about it and then it was like this trending sound where like all these
Mhm,
people were telling stories of like
mhm.
times they did crazy stuff. They're like, I didn't have it in myself to go with Grace.
I love that.
So I'm like,
Hmm.
well, now it's a TikTok sound. It's
Hmm.
not as like
Yeah, I think
interesting.
mine.
What about you? So someone
Oh my
has a gun to
god!
your head. What are you asking Siri to
Honestly, it would
play?
have to be Cardigan. What?
No, all the
Oh
all
my
too well
god! Oh, so you
talented
get the
version.
longest possible experience. Yeah, I asked a friend of mine the other day. I'm like, so which song would you listen to? And he's like, all too well 10 minutes. That's the one thing that's gonna last the longest. So, but no, for my favorite song ever, 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 it would have to be Cardigan. And it's probably my favorite song, like even outside of Taylor Swift, like of all time.
Oh
Um,
wow, yeah. It's up
yeah,
there for me for sure.
it was like
I don't know.
it was the first song that I fell in love with when I was introduced to folklore, and it really like okay, not to sound dramatic because I know this has been done many times, but I feel like a s her storytelling in this really transcends literature because it's all told like it's in a song format. You know
We're
what?
gonna
I don't
get
care.
canceled
Go
for
for
that.
it. I don't
Thanks.
care. But I mean, like I know other artists tell like fictional songs, through the writing, but like
Yeah.
this just like it fit my like taste in regards to like writing style so well. And it just, but also the love triangle, Cardigan, Betty, and August, like that just in three songs that are probably like 3 to 4 minutes, it really tells a really big story that I love. But yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I know you commented and you said like it
Mhm.
should have been a movie. So Boy Genius released like their kind of big music video and it was like three songs and like an interconnected music video where like you get
Mhm.
one and then it like zooms out and then it like kind of
Yeah,
zooms into like the second song. And I think like that would have
I
been good
agree.
for the love triangle. Also, back
Mhm.
to the Boy Genius concert. Their opener, Claude sang a version of Betty while I was in the merch line, and your girl had a few
Yes.
drinks. So I was a little
Love
more
that.
extroverted. And I was like making eye contact with
You
people, and I'm
know,
like, you know the words,
yes.
like sing it with me.
Oh my, I love that. That makes me so happy. I love that.
But I
Hmm.
think it's because of me,
Hmm.
like with strangers.
You know, what'd be another good movie made from her song is Cowboy Like Me, dark western.
Weren't we talking about like, is that a sad song or is that a
Yes, we
happy
were, and I
song?
think like, I mean, it could be
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like I never wanted love, just a fancy car. Now I'm sitting by the phone
Yeah.
or like I'm sitting in an
Yes.
airport bar.
Or like when she says,
I don't know.
with your boots beneath my bed, love was the greatest con. And I'm like, well, con's typically a bad thing, but like in this context, she's like going for it. I don't know. It was, I don't know.
She loves that metaphor though. Like she
Hmm.
uses that a lot in her words,
Hmm.
like card
Yes.
sharks, playing games, like we were conning people, we
Hmm.
were criminals, the
She uses
getaway car, like
swindling in this. And I'm like, oh my god, yeah.
mhm.
I know. I'm
She
like,
loves that metaphor. She loves a good
and she
con. She loves a good
does, and
swindle.
she's a mastermind. She's a mastermind. So, but yeah, I think that'd be a really good movie.
I also love that Mastermind totally like undid
Low
Invisible
key,
String. Like we were all like,
low
oh,
key.
isn't it just so pretty to think? She's like,
No.
just kidding. There's no
Hmm.
invisible string. I set it up.
Uh, well, yeah, I think we had some great picks. So, mhm.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. Well, do you have any last minute stuff
Let me
to
think.
add?
I don't think so. Other than to all the Swifties out there, shout out. We're doing important work.
Yeah. To all the we are. We put in a
We
lot of
did.
work into this. So ideally, I had
Hmm.
wanted to record this earlier so that it would
Hmm.
release during StokerCon because I don't know if I told you. Yeah, StokerCon was during like the time that Taylor was here. So whenever when I went to the hotel for like the events and stuff, full of
Yes.
Swifties everywhere. And it was just like a real
Hmm.
merging of the worlds. I don't think they were super thrilled a lot of them were not thrilled with us. Like I passed a girl on the stairs and she was like, I don't know, some kind of horror conference. Everyone's in black. I'm like, I don't know. We're not mall goths. I feel like we're wearing just like
Mall
normal
goths. Oh my god, I
clothes.
love that. Little do they know, you're like, I'm one of you. I'm one of you.
I know. I'm like, I'm both. But I was like, and then someone in the bathroom, someone posted on Twitter, like overheard in the bathroom. Someone was like, I don't know, some kind of Dracula concert or something.
Yeah. It's like we're wearing jeans and like a black tee from
Yeah, like maybe a
Target.
horror t-shirt. Like, calm down.
Maybe. Yeah. Like
You girls are wearing like snake tights. Like, chill out.
yeah, with like heavy on the glitter, which no shade, but
Mm-hmm.
they probably were a lot more rambunctious with their looks than
Oh yeah,
people at Starbucks.
big.
So
A lot of 1989 and Lover. I think were the
mhm,
it was 1989 Lover and Reputation were kind of
yeah,
like the big eras that I saw. Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I know you would
of course.
indulge this crazy obsession and like, thank you for
Girl,
all the times you come on and put in the
anytime.
work and do the reading and
Girl, of
this
course.
took listeners, this took so much more work than it seems. Like we really racked our
Yes.
brains and I hope
Yes.
it comes through.
It better because you don't know how hard it is to pair dark fiction slash horror with Taylor songs.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, I'm like, she's done like some horror imagery. Like, is it is hers in Reputation? Is it the Ready for It video where it's like a lot of the zombie
It is Look What You Made Me Do.
look what you made me do? Like a lot of like
Hmm.
zombie imagery, like coming back from the grave, coming back from the dead, and that's like her
Yes.
dark. And then I
Yeah.
know we talked about in You're on Your Own Kid. She's like, I looked around in a
Blood
blood-stained
soaked.
gown,
Yes.
blood-soaked gown.
Hmm.
Um, and then an anti-hero, I mean, there's kaiju imagery. Like everybody is a
Yes.
sexy baby. I'm a monster on the hill,
Yes.
lurking towards your favorite city, pierced through the
Hmm.
heart but never killed.
Oh,
Also, let me tell you something. If you can't relate to that lyric, you've never been the biggest one in a friend group. Okay. I know what
yes.
it's like to feel like a monster on a hill and everyone around you is a sexy baby.
Yes. Yes. Which that line also pairs well with Gold Rush. If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, there's a lot. Hopefully, this wasn't too inside baseball for people that are just like casual fans and like the podcast. I hope this was approachable. Hope it maybe gets you to like listen to a Taylor
Mhm.
song or two.
At least one, but try for two.
Yeah. And I'm sorry if like now you know how unhinged I am.
Yes, but it's okay. Unapologetically.
Unapologetic.
So I join you.
Like if you listen to the podcast, you know I'm a Swiftie. I talk about her often.
Yes.
But that is that. Honestly, peace out.
Perfect.